The odds very balanced. No money going real heavy to any one. Spanish Chestnut 5-2, and if it's as good as some people think it is, that's value.
Tough race to make a line on. Magna Graduate has gone up from 3-6, and Mayan King has gone from 15-1 down to 6-1 right now with 10 minutes still to go before post time.
All right, a bit earlier, Janine was with one of the key riders in this race.
Kenny, Gary Stevens won the first of 3 Kentucky Derbies 17 years ago, and now a retirement, an overseas riding stint, and an acting career later. His career has come full circle, and that's back to chasing the Derby dream. Gary, what fuels that passion?
The Derby, you said it. The big races in the spring. I start looking in October the prior year at the 2-year-olds and try and look for horses that are going to, eventually get to the Derby, and that's not easy to do, but you cross that finish line first one time in the Kentucky Derby, it becomes like a drug that you need, and it's become my passion, and I'm not ready to hang it up until I get another one.
Well, one horse that I know you're hoping may get you there is Spanish Chestnut. Now, you were quoted as saying that his last race is a lot better than it looked. Why is that?
We missed 2 works. Everyone knows how much rain we've had in California. I think we've had something like 42 inches of rain at Santa Anita this winter, and we missed a couple of works with him, and he's a heavy colt. He's kind of a horse that's built a lot like Thunder Gulch was. He needs a lot of activity, a lot of training. He thrives on it, and that's one reason he's here today, is to get another race in him, and he may even have another race before the Kentucky Derby. Patrick knows this horse really well, and he seems to think that he's a horse that needs to run every 3 weeks, so that's why this race was picked out for him, and he may need today's race. There's a lot of speed in there, and I'm going to ride him a little differently than I did the last time, and hopefully he'll move forward off of this, and the key is you want him their best on that first Saturday in May.
Ride him a little bit differently. Can you elaborate on that? I was going to ask you about the game plan, because there is some other speed in the race, and he's been in front in all 4 tries around 2 turns.
He'll be in front again today. Last time when I rode him, Patrick wanted me to sit on him a little longer, wait till I turned into the stretch. I let Declan's Moon come up on the outside of me and actually let him engage me before we came into the stretch. And after looking back at the tapes and everything, Patrick and I both feel that that was a mistake. And I'll do more of a winning colors type ride today. I think, if I've got the horse underneath me, but I'll try and take them out of their game a little earlier than what I did in his last race. And he's a horse that's got a lot of stamina, and he's not going to have a big kick down the stretch. He's a horse that's going to wind up from the 3/8 pull, so I've kind of showed my hand already.
Well, that's okay. Well, I know today's race does take on an added significance for you and for trainer Patrick Biancone, as their other Derby hopeful, Scipion, has suffered a hind leg fracture. He is now off the Derby trail. So, Kenny, a lot riding on Spanish Chestnut's performance today.
A little bit of favoritism.
Again, as we said, a wide open race. The horse that I like at a price is the 6-horse Texas. Right now, he's 7-1. He is extremely consistent, but that's not our long shot.
No, we need something longer.
Hello, I'm Gary Contessa, trainer of Mayan King, today's Budweiser long shot. He worked incredibly at the Ocala 2-year-old sale, and David Cassidy and I and Tom Daly, his owner, we fell in love with him.
I loved his attitude. He hadn't been in training long, and he worked an 8 in 10 and 2, which is phenomenal.
He was freaky. He was freaky fast when we bought him. He is just so talented that he was able to win first time out going 3/4 and then come back at a mile and run a very professional race. So here we are. Stephen Got Even won the Lane's End in 1999, and we are here to carry on that legacy, and I hope he can make his father proud. Budweiser is the king of beer in our stable, so bet on Mayan King to rule the Lane's End Stakes today.
Well, here's what Mayan King has going for him. Joe Bravo. Joe Bravo just pulled off a 38-1 upset in the rush away with Cat Shaker, so he's aboard here, Mayan King. He stands now at 8-1.
Contessa said he was freaky fast when he bought him at a 2-year-old sale. He was also kind of freaky in the head. At that sale, he threw his jockey, ran off, ran through a fence, ran over cars. He was uninjured, and he's calmed down a lot since then, but he had a very eventful beginning there.
Well, Gary Stevens sort of set us up on what the keys to the race were in his department, and that's where you start too, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Spanish Chestnut is a key. Can Stevens get him to relax? This is a 1 1/8. He's never gone that far before, and he is very aggressive on the front end. How fast will they make him go? Then some other keys. Texas with the blinkers off. Will they be able to get him to settle off the pace and extend his distance capabilities a little bit as well? Then there's Andromeda's Hero. How good is he? His numbers haven't been that good. He's looked visually impressive. Never run against good horses before. This will be a big test for him. And then there are the horses that are the up-and-comers that have never run in a stakes race. Mayan King and Mr. Sword from Aqueduct, Flower Alley from Gulfstream Park. This will be a real test of class for those.
All right, in just a minute, you'll hear from Janine, but first you need a little history lesson.
On the outside, Eugene's third son is second. New York Hero. Eugene's third son, New York Hero.
Thank you, God. It was 2 years ago, and the connections of Mr. Sword and this year's Lanes End Stakes are hoping for deja vu all over again. That was the 14-to-1 shot. New York Hero winning this race in 2003 gave his trainer her first win in a graded stakes. She was overcome with emotion, as you could see. She still calls him one of her favorite horses, but Mr. Sword is growing on her. She said he's got big shoes to fill, but he's peaking at the right time, having won his last 3 races. She said he's still learning, but he's definitely moving forward, and his last win, that allowance race at Aqueduct, was very, very impressive, Kenny.
And Mr. Sword, Kenny, is also a half-brother to a horse called Song of the Sword, who they had last year that ran in the Kentucky Derby and finished 11th in that race.
Here's Texas going very accomplished here, racing in the grade 2. As you pointed out, lost to Spanish Chestnut, but had all those problems at Santa Anita. Won $1 million race at Delta Downs.
They want to see him 3 or 4 lengths off the pace, nice and relaxed, and ration his speed a little better than he did last time at Bay Meadows when he went the first 6 furlongs in 109.3. That's why the blinkers are coming off today.
Mike Battaglia is about to call this. 9 of them going in the Lanes End.
All right, thank you, Kenny. And we've got 8 horses in the gate. There goes the 9, Mr. Sword. They're at the post for the Lanes End. All standing well. And they're off. Spanish Chestnut breaks alertly from the outside between horses. That's Flower Alley. Then Magna Graduate and Diamond Isle from the inside. Texas is next as they move for the first turn. It's Spanish Chestnut as expected in front. Has it a length and a half. Flower Alley is second. Then along the inside, that's Diamond Isle third by a half length. Magna Graduate on the outside runs fourth. Length to Texas in fifth. Then down along the rail, Mr. Sword is sixth. Length back, Mayan King runs seventh. Gap of 2 to Andromeda's Hero. Trailer is Wild Desert. First quarter, 23 seconds flat. Spanish Chestnut leads by a length and a half. Magna Graduate moves up now to take second. Then it's Flower Alley third by a head. Texas on the outside runs fourth. Mr. Sword is gaining ground from the rail in fifth. Also moving up, Mayan King and Diamond Isle, a length Andromeda's Hero. And the trailer is Wild Desert. The half went 46-3. On the inside, that's now Mr. Sword, who moves by and gets the lead a half length from Spanish Chestnut. It's a gap of 2.5. Magna Graduate runs a third. Then along the inside, Mayan King moves up in fourth. Then up from the center of the track, Wild Desert. But Mr. Sword is in front. Rolls away now by 2.5. Magna Graduate now gaining ground. Here comes Flower Alley. It's Flower Alley and Wild Desert. Flower Alley does it. He wins the Lanes End a half. Wild Desert second. Mr. Sword faded to third. A photo for fourth. Todd Pletcher and Georgie Chavez with Flower Alley getting up to win the Lanes End in 150-1.
Well, Randy, our horse Texas finished last. Right there, Flower Alley is like a piñata broke at the end, and the candy exploded, and he just came out of nowhere.
That was an absolutely bizarre race when you consider that Flower Alley was up front early with Spanish Chestnut when the horses went around the first turn and then fell back a little bit. What happened here basically is that Norberto Arroyo Jr. aboard Mr. Sword just totally made a premature move. I mean, he had all the horse in the world, and going into the second turn, he makes this bold move up on the inside, obviously, and he opens up on the field and then has nothing left for the last eighth of a mile. A better timed ride, I think, would have gotten Mr. Sword to the winner's circle in front, but he had nothing left for the last eighth of a mile, and that enabled Flower Alley to come back again, along with Wild Desert, to go past him there. You see the horse was erratic there, and Mr. Sword in the last eighth of a mile. That's kind of the way he is, but in this particular situation, he was exhausted. He had nothing left.
Well, he sort of ran the same race that Stevens said he was going to do, try to take it and put the others away, but he just was empty when they came inside the final 16. Flower Alley, not even in the picture until the final yards, goes out to win. Now 2 for 3, and Todd Pletcher might have another fine runner. We're coming right back. The Lane's End is in the books. Not official yet, but Flower Alley has taken down 8 others as we go forward 6 weeks away from the Kentucky Derby. World Court there with white wigs and all, but here on the phone, calling upstairs.
We have an objection, basically, what's happened here.
Well, we no longer have
we did have an objection.
Rule.
The owner of the 3, Wild Desert, had claimed foul against the unofficial winner, Flower Alley. It has already been dismissed.
Let's go ahead and see it to find out what they were talking about.
Yeah, we'll show you why it's already been dismissed. This is your winner, Flower Alley. This is Wild Desert, the runner-up on the outside. And as the horses come into the stretch, you'll see that there's just a little bit of drifting on the part of Flower Alley into the path of Wild Desert. But really, you can't really say it's even in the path of Wild Desert, because that is very incidental contact. I think it was important to note that it was the owner rather than the jockey, Robbie Alvarado, that claimed fouled in the spot. And the stewards very quickly, while we were on the break, looked at this and have already dismissed that completely. As they should.
So it is Flower Alley, Jorge Chavez. And it wasn't just to cover ourselves, but I do believe there was strong mention that you didn't know what to make of this one. Did Pletcher have another good one? The maiden race against 11 others was very impressive. An 88 buyer, and in this case, ran the right race and ran by Mr. Sword at the end.
Then there was the workout with Achado and company back on March the 13th. It was the fastest 6-furlong workout of the whole winter at the Palm Meadows Training Center. So obviously Flower Alley is developing at the right time. But this is only lifetime start.
Now, you'd mentioned Mr. Sword probably went a bit early. Had he gone on to win, we would have said what a brilliant move. But when it runs out of gas, you can say he burned not too soon.
He went way, way early. This is Mr. Sword right here. This is your eventual winner, Flower Alley. And keep in mind, this is on the back stretch. They're not even at the 3/8 pole now. This is even earlier than Gary Stevens had planned to bust it wide open by about 1/8 of a mile, as Norberto Arroyo sees the hole up on the inside and decides just to absolutely go for it.
And it forced Spanish Chestnut and Gary Stevens to start running, which burnt them out as well.
Exactly. I mean, Spanish Chestnut is not the kind of horse that's going to take to a challenge like this and is going to still be around at the finish. You see Magna Graduate right there in third right now. He can't really keep up. At this point, you know, under ordinary circumstances, you'd say that Mr. Sword is home free, but having moved so early, there's just nothing left. And if anybody was going to be running late, they were going to be able to go by him. Now, you see Mr. Sword here running very erratically down the stretch, and you'll see Flower Alley and Wild Desert both come into the picture on the far outside and completely blow past Mr. Sword in the last 1/8 of a mile. They can't be happy with that ride.
To that point, though, until they came in the picture, was it in your mind that he burned them out? I mean, you weren't expecting them flying on the outside of that moment.
Well, you knew he had made a very premature move, and it would come back to cost him. The question was just simply if anybody was going to be running at the end to make him pay.
It's official. Flower Alley returning $22.40, also known as Flower Alley. And those two, Flower Alley and Wild Desert, they combined for $179 exacted. Janine, down in the winner's enclosure.
With winning trainer Todd Pletcher, and Flower Alley battled every step of the way in his maiden win, which was just his last race. Very inexperienced. What did that effort show you?
Well, it was a fastly run race. It was a good race, and the horses trained really well. And you know, we've had a good line on him based on the horses he's been training with. He breezed 6 furlongs with Achado and held his own, and he's been breezing with Bandini. And so, you know, it's not something we normally do to jump from a maiden race, but we felt like if we had any chance to get into the bigger picture, that we needed to step up. And as long as he kept showing me in the mornings that he was maybe the kind that could jump up and do that, we figured we'd give it a try.
So he did kind of take the long way home. As you said, he's still demonstrating a little bit of inexperience.
Well, you know, I think the kickback here at Turfway is maybe a little more severe than most tracks, especially when it gets wet. It can be a little abrasive, and he was very green. You could see down the backside when the dirt was hitting him in his face, his head came up in the air and he was climbing. And it wasn't really until he got out in the open down the lane that he found his best running.
And very quickly, where will he go next?
I don't know. I think everything's a possibility. The Arkansas Derby, the Bluegrass, the Lexington, if I felt like I needed more time.
Okay, congratulations. And we all know that we will see Bandini next week for Todd in the Florida Derby. But a quick update on Spanish Chestnut. Trainer Patrick Biancone said he did feel that the distance may have been just a little bit too far for him. They're going to go back to square one and regroup, and so he will not go on to the Bluegrass as was originally planned. Kenny?
Things changed in an instant this time of year, Randy, and it does for Flower Alley in the And the connections there, the winner's enclosure presentation right there.
Bill Farish of Lane's Inn Farm, the son of Lane's Inn owner Will Farish, is on your left there, presenting the trophy to Todd Pletcher there.
Check out the full order of finish. We were both in love with the 9th place finish. I don't have any excuse there.
And this is an important note. We hit on it at the top. Flower Alley now has enough graded earnings to easily make it into the Kentucky Derby field. Wild Desert already had 31,000 in graded earnings. So now he probably is safe in the top 20 if you go by what it has taken in previous years. Mr. Sword, though, is going to need still more graded earnings if you reach the 20-horse limit this year for the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, when we're looking at the race at the top, the biggest key was would Spanish Chestnut be able to control it? It seemed like he was in pretty good position, but because Mr. Sword ran up on him, Gary Stevens started running harder with his horse as well.
Yeah, and of course that enabled Spanish Chestnut not to be able to relax on the lead. I think Texas may need the blinkers back. We didn't even hear Andromeda Zero called, basically, so he clearly ran to its speed figures, which were not good enough. And the up-and-comers,
we found one.
One of those, of course, Flower Alley.